Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Donatien Jirangai. In this video, I'm going to inform you about the economic crisis that led to the downfall of Sri Lanka. So we all know what is happening in Sri Lanka. There are protests that first began in April in the capital city, Colombo, in April of this year. This is mainly due because people are struggling with daily basic needs such as food, fuel, medicine, and all of this is happening because there is high inflation. And inflation is higher than 50% every month. All of this because there is fuel shortage everywhere in the country. They don't have enough fuel for everyone. Even they don't have enough fuel for essential and transportation vehicles such as buses, trains, emergency vehicles. So this caused all that mass catastrophe that we all seen. And the lack of fuel caused the petrol, diesel, gas prices to be extremely high. And because of this reason, the Sri Lanka government moved to ban the sales of gas, diesel, and many type of different kind of oils, as you name it. And the only people who are able to buy these type of essential fuels are the essential workers. But the non-essential workers, there is a ban for 2 weeks for them. By the way, I apologize for all the background noise that is going on. I have no control over it, so I apologize for that. And the longer the country has been prohibiting its people to buy fuel for their needs, the more chaos people become. The inflation has caused everything in that country to be extremely expensive. People can get nowhere. And because of that, schools were able to close because they couldn't even afford to buy paper so that they can print paper for what they need in school for most of their children's or high school, universities, middle schools to be able to print papers they need. As you can see, Sri Lanka is in a serious debt crisis because it cannot buy essential goods from other countries due to lack of foreign currency. Therefore, the country won't be able to pay its interest on the foreign debts it owes. So what happens when a country can't pay its debts it owes? So when a country fails to pay its debts, it can damage that country's economy, reputation, and this would make the investors, meaning foreign investors, to lose trust in the country, and they wouldn't be able to give loan to that country, so that they would be able to borrow money needed for international trade deals that is needed. And a country will not be able to do good without making international trade deals or having new investors coming into the country to make all of this happen. And also this also caused Sri Lanka's currency to go down along with its economy, right? So Sri Lanka owes more than 51 billion to foreign lenders, including 6.5 billion to China. And the World Bank has agreed to lend Sri Lanka $600 million, as well as India also offered to help with at least 1.9 billion. And the International Monetary Fund, also known as IMF, is discussing a possible ways to offer about 3 billion loan to the Sri Lankan government to help solve all these problems, to ease things out. So because of all of this happening, it led to social unrest, right? So due to social unrest and protests, there were many protesters who stormed the president's palace, right? And they all went there trying to make the president to resign and flee his palace, and the president was able to flee the country and went to Singapore instead. So when the president flee and went to Singapore, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is now acting president, but there are calls for his resignation by the Sri Lankan people, right? So the question you have to ask yourself is that what led to this economic crisis in Sri Lanka? Well, the government blame all of this on COVID-19, right? Because they said that the COVID-19 has affected the tourist trade that was happening in their country, right? Because the tourism from individual people, companies who do trade deals will bring a lot of money to Sri Lanka. And the COVID come and stop all of that. So therefore, people stop going vacations. All the tourists they won't be able to go, right? And if people go, probably it's just short amount of people. So that makes the country to lose a lot of money, huge amount of money. And not only that too, but people were scared because, people were scared because of bomb threats and bomb attacks that took place in 2019, around that same time before the pandemic. Therefore, people were not going vacation in that place. But despite all of that, experts are only blaming the president Rajapaksa for his poor economic management, right? He could have done better, but he chose not to. And President Rajapaksa also was criticized, because he was criticized for big tax cuts he introduced in 2019. And because of this, the government lost a lot of money. The government lost an income of more than 1.4 billion a year. Imagine, that's a lot of money for the country lose every year, right? Not one time, but all the time. When Sri Lanka's foreign currency shortage became a problem in early 2021, the government have limited them by banning imports of chemical fertilizers, and they called farmers to use locally sourced fertilizers instead of getting it from other countries. And this has led to the widespread crop failures, and then Sri Lanka had to supplement its own food track from abroad, which made the currency shortage even worse. So all these fuel shortage problems also have created long lines of people staying in the sun, trying to wait pump fuel for days, to the point that most people passed out in line. And high inflation is not going down, it continues to rise, and eventually each month is gonna keep climbing up to 70% every month. So this is what is causing the downfall of Sri Lanka, because of higher inflation that is not controlled. And all countries are going through this around this time, right? The US is going through, that's why you see the Federal Reserve is trying to raise interest every month or every few months, so that, hopefully one day everything could fall back down, so that things go back to normal and people buy things at cheaper rate. So inflation, it is a serious problem that each nation and their citizens should take it seriously, to make sure that that doesn't go beyond its limit, like meaning go to no return zone. Because once it hit that high peak level, it's harder to bring it down. And then what happens when you reach the high peak with inflation? Recession comes next. How are you trying to stop inflation and recession also arise at the same time? You can't. So the best approach is that countries have to do, when inflation start to climb, they need to take action and initiative step to stop it right before it gets too advanced. Otherwise, it will be difficult to stop it. Let me know what do you think of this video, and please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And I know there are so many informations out there, so let me know down in the comments if anything I'm missing in this video. Comment down and let me know.